Next is Senator Aubrey McCarthy.
Thank you, Ciarán, and thank you for being here today. It's been a really informative discussion. I mean, we're dealing with conveyancing, tourism, insurance, the legal sector. So you guys are busy. You have a lot on. There's an opinion piece in the Irish Times today by Lorcan Sir, and it's entitled "Irish Households Are Wealthier Than Ever." But the underlying caption is, "You're probably not the only one who didn't notice." And I'm involved in SMEs, I'm involved in the homeless sector as well. So I sort of know that people are feeling the pinch, and they're feeling definitely a cost of living crisis, and that's every day. And one of you mentioned about the insurance sector. And last week while I was in here, I asked about insurances, how come they're climbing, and for businesses that have had no claims, they're still facing increases. I was told that there's a cabinet subcommittee that deals with all that, but it seems that we're not having any teeth to deal with it. Now, I'm just wondering, and you probably addressed it, but from a competition perspective, we're meant to have a competitive insurance market, yet it seems that there's very few players, and that they seem to drive the pricing, and it doesn't seem to lower. So I'm wondering what steps can be taken to address that. Given that we have a cabinet subcommittee, given that we have yourselves, are we too afraid to face it? That's the first question.
So, in terms of insurance, and as we've mentioned, we did a study a number of years ago. We made a number of recommendations, and one of the issues back then, when you speak to international players, for example, about why don't you come to Ireland, was, well, the personal injuries landscape is very uncertain, it's very high, it's very lengthy, it's just not an attractive market. And so the recommendations around changing that have started. They are now having an effect. They're not complete, and they cannot go backwards. So we need to move the decisions around personal injuries into the IRB. That is something which is happening. Simon has talked about today. So that's one element of it. The other element of it is that we need to see entry. I mean, entry is absolutely key to a healthy market, new ideas, new business models come in. And we haven't seen a lot of that yet. So that is something that we absolutely monitor in terms of the market. We do engage in terms of the information available to new entrants. So previously that a new entrant couldn't get access to all the historic information that you need in order to price your insurance products. So
is it no claims bonuses? From a GDPR point of view?
No, so it was held by Insurance Ireland, this database, and it was only available to members of Insurance Ireland. So there was a competition investigation. It was actually led by the European Commission, although we would have worked with them on it. And the outcome of that is that database is now open to...
So it was a protective mechanism even...
Yes, so it was effectively what we call a barrier to entry. If you want to enter the market, you must have that information. Okay. And they didn't have access to that information. They do now. And recently we've even been working to ensure that self-insured, which is quite a big part of the market for certain businesses, can also access that database, and that's really important.
So you think it's going to change?
We think significant reform has been made. Mm-hmm. We think that we need to keep driving, because we've made further recommendations about what information could be available, including down to insurance level. I mean, there's a lot of information, rightly, as a regulated sector in the insurance that's published, but not down to the level of the insurance companies. And I think it is important to see market shares, to see profit margins.
That's why the profits are huge. And yeah,
so I think that we should be more transparency in that as a regulated market. And then what you want to see then is you want to see new entry. That is, it's one of the key metrics.
And do you believe that will happen?
We do believe that that's the journey that we're on. Okay. Yes.
I was just going to add just very briefly, and this isn't the case across all segments of the insurance market, but we do note and welcome some signs of entry in some areas, including motor and home insurance, where we've seen Outsurance, Revolut and Fastnet enter the market. So we regard that as a welcome sign, potentially some indication of payback for some of the reforms that have been introduced. We would like to see, obviously, more entry across more markets, but we do take that as a sign of encouragement.
Okay. Another question I have, Deputy Gogarty mentioned that you can get a Tai Chi 6-week ribbon. I've been Googling it, I can't find it, but anyway, how to get ripped in 6 weeks. But I will say you're now overseeing sort of influencers and the AI, that's all coming under your gig. Is that correct?
So in the context of misleading, To mislead a consumer into making a purchase is a breach of consumer law, and where influencers are effectively selling something, a product, which they have an investment in, and it's an advertisement, and they're not telling the consumer this is an ad, then you're misleading that consumer.
Okay,
So,
a prominent rugby player was brought up over that recently. So is that being policed? Because I noticed a lot of people that I would know in that world, they get a lot of freebies. So is that policed? Is the competition being governed?
yes. So in that we've issued guidance as to what would be included within where you should have an advertisement, including you getting lots of freebies. So that guidance is out there. So we thought, given it was a relatively new market, it's a huge market. So we did a survey. One of the very striking things is the number of consumers who follow an influencer, have bought a product and felt misled. All three is 5% of adults have all those three things. Which, as someone who doesn't follow influencers, I've found quite surprising. So we have prioritised that market. We have issued the guidance, issued the warning letters, issued the compliance notices, and there will be more action in that area because it has such an impact on consumers.
We also work very closely with the Advertising Standards Authority. We usually have a data sharing agreement with them, but they send data to us where they get issues in that area. But we do sweeps in terms of looking at ones that come to our attention. So
if they're reported to you? Or
we do sweeps. So
okay.
yeah, we are sweeping.
Did you see the website for the 6 weeks really?
I probably need to. I need
to go with you,
but I didn't. No, but I mean, we have people looking, and we are seeing because it's that journey of we look through, we wrote to people and say we see stuff that's misleading here. You have to make clear that you're advertising. Then we come back later. So, but we are still sweeping across, and we're working with the advertising.
Okay, I'd say it's a quagmire for the likes of revenue as well, because that's a whole different other. And then finally, just and it's not really a question, but I absolutely hear what you're saying about the legal sector. It's been said for years, and we're up debating defamation in the Seanad and that, and it's a whole sector that people are scared of touching. And I know you're saying it doesn't compare internationally, and we really need to up our game. So I couldn't agree with you more now. Thank you, Kevin.